Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today I'm taking a look at the Cincinnati Bengals and going over whether or not I think quarterback Joe Burrow can win Comeback Player of the Year in the upcoming season. But before we get into that topic, just a quick question for those of you viewing. What do you think the Bengals record will be in the upcoming season? You think they'll be above 500, below 500? You think they'll make the playoffs, not even come close, whatever it is? Comment down below and I'll reveal my answer at the end. But getting straight into it, Comeback Player of the Year, it's not an easy award to win, especially this year. There's a lot of big names that's going to be in contention this year for that award. Dak Prescott, the other top quarterback Joe Burrow would be competing against for this award. Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley. There's other positions out there. Carson Wentz is another quarterback. If you're looking at just that, Jimmy G maybe, but also on defense, Nick Bosa, Von Miller, Derwin James. There's some big name guys out there that are going to be fighting for Comeback Player of the Year. OBJ possibly. I don't know if Baker has the arm to get OBJ that award, but again, there's a lot of hot names out there that is going to be in contention for this running. However, Joe Burrow, I think, can stand on par with any of these names, and therefore I think he'll be in the running to possibly win it. To me, the biggest competition will be Dak Prescott, and really Joe Burrow does have to outperform him. You know, if the Bengals finish last in their division and Dak Prescott finishes first in their division and he takes the Cowboys to the playoffs, even if Joe Burrow has better stats, people are just going to give Dak Prescott the award for taking his team to the playoffs, and it's easily understood, and I'm not saying Joe Burrow would get ripped off for that, but you do have to understand that the guy that takes his team to the promised land is obviously going to get the higher acknowledgments, and I can't blame him with that. But if Joe Burrow can somehow get his team to the playoffs and Dak Prescott also gets his team to the playoffs, I think hands down it would go to Joe Burrow, because a lot of people would see that it was much harder to get the Bengals to the postseason in the AFC North between the Steelers, Ravens, and Browns, arguably the hardest division in the NFL, versus Dak Prescott fighting through the NFC least, the worst division in the NFL. So if that was the case, I do think Joe Burrow could do it, but again, he's going to have to absolutely outperform him. You know, I don't need him to go off MVP mode, throw 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards, but in a 17-game season, it'd be nice to see him throw between the 30 and 40 range. Again, he doesn't have the top 40, he doesn't have to push 50, but he does need a Comeback Player of the Year type of year. And of course, like I said, it's much more than Dak. You know, Christian McCaffrey could rush for 1,000 yards and receive 1,000 yards again. Saquon Barkley could carry his team like Derrick Henry carries the Titans. We're not sure. And then other guys out there. You know, last time Jimmy G was a quarterback, he took his team to the Super Bowl. Last time Jimmy G was a healthy quarterback, healthy again, he takes him to the Super Bowl again. Something tells me he might be looking at the award. Carson Wentz, if he creates an MVP season like he did last time he was with Frank Reich, he might be in the running. So again, it's much bigger than Dak Prescott by far. But if you just told me to pick one guy that I think would give Joe Burrow the hardest problem, it would be Dak Prescott, because Dak Prescott is the guy that has A, the biggest expectation to win Comeback Player of the Year, and B, probably the easiest path to do it because he has the most likely chance of taking his team to the playoffs. Niners, they're in a tough division, just like Joe Burrow, so that'd be hard for Jimmy G. And Carson Wentz, he's in a winnable division, but with the Titans having Derrick Henry and Julio Jones now, it will be tough. But again, he's getting to play the Jaguars and Texans as well, so make your argument whichever way. Pick who you want to win Comeback Player. Can Joe Burrow do it 100%? But again, he has to be in that 30 to 40 touchdown range. I think he's got to throw for 4,000 plus yards. And of course, obviously, you got to keep the interceptions down. You know, I'm not saying you can't throw an interception. Everyone throws an interception, but he's got to have a good ratio, probably a 3-to-1 ratio. And, you know, maybe this could just be a bad year. You know, Carson Wentz is what he was last year. Jimmy G gets replaced by Trey Lance, and Dak gets hurt again. And now it's kind of a landslide for Joe Burrow. All the quarterbacks went down. Those are all unlikely for all of them to go down, but I'm just saying it's a possible path where Joe Burrow doesn't need an excellent season of 40 touchdowns and 4,000 yards. He could get away with possibly 29 touchdowns, 3,000 yards, and 10 picks. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying anything is really possible for Comeback Player of the Year. There is no set standards. You know, MVP is a little more clear cut. A lot of times the guys that win MVP lead their teams to the best record in the division. The best record in their conference. For reference, the Packers this last year and Aaron Rodgers, they were the number one seed in the NFC. Year before that, Lamar Jackson led the Ravens to the number one seed in the AFC. Year before that, Patrick Mahomes, number one seed in the AFC. So as you see, there's kind of a trend there in a sense, but when it comes to Comeback Player of the Year, it varies. You know, we went from Alex Smith, who almost died from his leg, to Ryan Tannehill, who went from a backup in Adam Gase to now taking the Titans to the playoffs. it really varies. There are no standards, and I'm not saying there's a clear-cut rule book on how to win MVP either, but if we all had to agree, I think a lot of us would agree that MVP has a kind of more notable resume or recognizable resume as to how you can win it versus comeback player of the year. How do you really determine that? What are the standards? What are the requirements? What is being looked for? It's kind of unknown, but you're just looking to say you had the best rebound year of any guy that had the worst year before. So there's some guidelines to go off of, but again, there is no clear-cut answer what Joe Burrow has to do. But to me, a couple of ways that would guarantee him comeback player of the year is A, taking the Bengals to playoffs. I don't see that happening. As much as I like what they have, Joe Burrow, I think he's going to improve. The receiving corp is amazing. Auden Tate, Marr Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. That's 4 star-studded dudes, in my opinion. Defense, I have my questions there. I like Jesse Bates as much as the next guy, arguably the first or second best safety in the league. They added Trey Hendrickson. They got Von Bell. They have Trey Waynes. They have Mike Hilton. There's some specks of talent there, but there's also some concerns. Joe Mixon's inconsistent. Offensive line, while it has a decent tackle duo in Riley Reiff and Jonah Williams, I still don't trust it as much as I want to. I don't trust Zach Taylor. I don't trust Trey Hendrickson by himself. I'm not the biggest on the linebacker core. I have my concerns, and just him being in that division, him going to the playoffs is not a likely route for me as to how he'll get comeback player of the year. Like I said, if everyone is healthy, Carson Wentz is bouncing back with a brand new line of Frank Wright. If Jimmy G is like he was and he's going to take the Niners to the playoffs and Dak's going to win his division, the really only way Joe Burrow is going to be able to out-duel 3 quarterbacks that are taking their team to the playoffs is going to be have a absolute baller season of 40-plus touchdowns and 4,000 yards. Again, I think it's possible with his receiving core in 17 games, but it's going to be one heck of a challenge. I'm excited to see it. If I was forced to say, does Joe Burrow win comeback player of the year, I would unfortunately say no for a couple of reasons. Like I said, some part of the roster scare me. I think the other quarterbacks around that he's competing against are in better situations. Dak's in the NFC least. Jimmy G, last time he's healthy, he took the Niners to the playoffs. Carson Wentz, he's got a brand new O-line, much better than he used to have, better backfield than he used to have, better coaching staff than he used to have. Just these other guys are in much better situations and much more doable situations. Again, it's possible for Joe Burrow, but if you ask me, will he, if I'm betting my hard-earned money on it, yes or no, I would say Joe Burrow does not win comeback player of the year. Will he be in the running? If he's healthy, absolutely. Of course, I think he will be in the running and he will be a conversationalist, but I don't think he will be handed the award at the end of the year unless he gets a playoff push or has an absolute baller season. As always, guys, I do want to hear your opinions. Do you agree or disagree that Joe Burrow can do it and will be in the running, but at the end of the day, he just won't be enough to get it done due to the circumstances of the roster and division around him? I want to hear from you guys. And of course, referring back to the end of the day, Bengals record predictions. Bengals fans might not like me, but I got them having a top 10 pick again. Being in that division, I have my concerns. I think they'll at max get 7 wins this year. 7-10 sounds like the ceiling. Maybe 8-9 sounds like the ceiling to me. I just don't see it happening for the Bengals for one more year. I think at time we could see Burrow really turn around the Bengals franchise, but for one more year, I got them being below 500. As always, and of course, thank you for watching. 2 Minute Warning.